Good morning, everybody. I didn't realize I was going to have to cough until I started talking and my throat clammed up. It is January 20th, Friday the 20th of January 2023. And it is just before 8 p.m., 7:52 p.m., 8 a.m. I'm so tired. Obviously I've been back in the gym, I've been working out, I've been eating a fucking ton of food to try and I guess to adjust my body to that. The new lifestyle I'm choosing to live, and it's just becoming more and more exhausting as time goes on. And not like oh my god, I'm choosing to do it, but still there's like an element of it where it makes this hard. Like the other day, for example, I forgot about this podcast. Whoopsies. The other day I forgot about this podcast until like right before it was midnight, and I almost missed the cutoff for getting it done every day. And I reckon I want to try and go like 3 months before I accept any sort of fault in that. It shouldn't be from my own poor time management and stupidity. It should be from emergencies, like for example Otis needs to go to the vet and it's just the last thing on my mind. Or but anyway, I've woken up, I've been feeling pretty good. I woke up feeling pretty good. I mean, other than like the obvious fucking grumpy because I'm tired, it was pretty good. Yesterday was my 3-year engagement anniversary with Mads. We got engaged 3 years ago on the 19th of Jan 2020. So it's a pretty easy one to remember. And maybe I'll go through that story. So I knew I wanted to marry Mads from the ending of our first date. Now, I'm not going to say knew that I wanted to marry her, but I did know that I wanted to be there with her for a long time, and I knew that she was special and someone to keep around. And so I think, I was trying so hard to be a gentleman. When I first met her, I reached out, as you do, over Facebook. I just sort of tagged her in something, and she was like, "Thanks, but who are you?" and then I planted the seed, I guess, and she started to pay attention and recognized who I was. We both worked at Macca's together, and started to talk. I would come in early for my overnight shifts, and she would stay back late after her 10 p.m. finishes. And we just got to talking, and then we would hang out, but it wasn't really, it was like awkward. We didn't really hang out, so I asked her if she wanted to go on a date. And I took her, I went and I bought a new shirt, and I had to buy like all this stuff because I knew that her dad didn't like tattoos. I was trying to impress the family. I didn't want to, set the wrong tone, have the wrong impression. And I went, I picked her up. We went to get Indian food. I ordered mushrooms. I fucking hated mushrooms at the time. But she loved them. And so I wanted to get whatever, it was like with Indian food, it comes out in like shared plates. Obviously you can order your separate stuff, but I didn't want to order too much food because I was also broke. And so I ordered mushrooms. I made a compromise and I ordered mushrooms because she wanted them, and I ate them. They weren't too bad, but I was nervous. The conversation wasn't flowing the way that I wanted it to. I think she was nervous too. And when I took her home later that night, I wanted to go inside and meet her dad because he didn't come out when I met the mum, but I didn't meet her dad. I stood in the foyer for almost 10 minutes. He was not coming out of the room. He was not coming out of his bedroom for anything. I mean, I don't know if it was me. If I was the dad, I would be fucking out on that front porch when they rocked up, But oh well. Anyway, I met him. and I shook his hand, and I just wanted, I guess, looking back on it, I wanted him to know that I was fucking sticking around, you know. And here we are. We're in June 6th this year. It'll be 7 years together. 1 year married. 1 year married legally. 3 years married. We had a little ceremony when we were living in Canberra with our cats were the witnesses, which was kind of cute. But yeah. And then the engagement. So we were living in Canberra. We were living in Canberra together at the time. We moved away just before the pandemic. So, we were just sort of trying to figure out what to do and who we were and what we wanted. And it was a really productive and formative couple of years, which was awesome. But there was a shop in the Canberra centre, the city centre. They're about to shut it down. It's called Mincho. And the man who ran that he pulled all the opals that he had out of mines that he was the guy that had them all. So all of the stuff in his shop was jewelry or opals that were mined by him, or like things that he'd engraved or carved, and it was just cool stuff. So we were trying to look for Maddie's ring size and stuff like that, because she knew what was coming. I think this is a point of conversation. Don't surprise your partner with engagement. That's the fucking dumbest thing you could ever do, because you don't know how they're feeling. Like, you should have a pretty good idea of what they think about having kids, what they want the future to look like, how much compromise and sacrifice they're willing to make, how much are you willing to make for them. Too many people, when we tell them that we're shopping for engagement rings together, I wanted to know what fit her hand. I didn't want to just rock up with some fucking gimpy looking stupid ass fucking ring, and then she has to say, oh yes, and then show people that she got this fucking silly ass fucking dicky ring. And I know it's not about that, but still, it's a point of topic. It's a conversation. I mean, it's a topic of conversation for people. So, we were looking, and she's got really dainty fingers. So, like princess rings, square rings, none of them really sort of looked great. And then we went with solitaire rings, just where it's just got the single diamond on the top. But then we couldn't go above like half a carat, because they would just look ridiculously big on her fingers. And score for me, right? It's a easy cheap ring, because you can't, obviously not cheap, but compared to the shit that you can fucking spend on. And we went to this opal shop, and we were looking around, and because she'd mentioned the idea of opal rings. We're trying to see if there was any opal engagement rings or anything like that, and there were, but they were fucking $7,000. Whoa, get fucked. Who's spending that much money on a ring? And we ended up picking out 2 opals that day, because I liked the idea of having an opal in my wedding band, right? A lot of men just get the plain band, and I'm a little bit extravagant. I don't fuck with that plain shit, you know what I mean? I like the idea of having something fancy, something sparkly on my finger. Why does she get all the sparkles and the fun, and I get the fucking plain ass workman band? And so that's what we did. We bought 2 opals, and the opals were cut from the same stone, which I think was pretty cool. It was a neat little addition. And so I took that to a jeweler in Canberra, in the city, called McGlade's Jewelers. And I said, I want to talk about making a custom ring. And they were like, okay, let's go. And and I sat there, and we did all the measurements and stuff. I was telling her the ring size and everything. And but Mads had no idea. So she knew that she was going to be proposed to. She knew that she was getting a custom engagement ring. She knew that it was going to have opal on it. And that's all she knew. She didn't know what it was going to look like. She didn't know any of the bells and whistles. She didn't know if it was going to be gold or silver, anything. So I think, I think it's so important as well, because marriage is a huge commitment. And if you're not willing to talk to your partner about things like that, and then things like kids and expectations around jobs and you know what I mean? What the fuck are you doing? What do you talk to your partner about? What was on telly and how good dinner was? Fucking boring ass You know, figure your shit out. Talk to your partners. And I'm only saying that because of how much fucking criticism we got when we were telling people that, we went shopping for engagement rings. Everyone was like, what? That's whack. You're like, oh, you know what's whack? Not talking to your fucking partner about shit and then getting rejected when you ask them to marry you. Or getting married and then getting divorced because you weren't on the same fucking page. That's embarrassing. And so I got this custom wedding ring made. Sorry, not wedding ring, engagement ring made. I remember we were in the city one day and I picked it up. I paid it off. While I was with Mads, I actually said I need to go and just put some money on it. And I went and I paid it off. And she was like, because the lady was like, oh, do you want a bag? Do you want this stuff? I was like, no, because if I take it, she's going to fucking know I have it. So I was wearing shorts. I just had to put, this fucking fat ass ring box in my pocket and hope that she noticed. She didn't notice. And, we hung out in the city. We shopped for some records, and we just hung out and did our own thing. And then we went home. And where we lived at the time was in Ox Estate, in a small pocket of Canberra that you have to go through Queanbeyan and New South Wales to get to. It's like you can't access it. You can't access Ox Estate without entering New South Wales first, which is whack. But it is what it is. And another thing, the jurisdiction of the police. We had a cop shop just around the corner, a New South Wales police, but they didn't have any jurisdiction. So there was I don't want to say it was a higher crime rate, but it was definitely a sketchier area to live in. Where we lived was lovely, and the street we lived on was great. But you go a street down, you can see why they say that. Just a bunch of fucking crackheads. Anyway, down the back, there's I believe it was part of the Molonglo River, and there's this a little trail where you can walk down. It's got seats and stuff, and we used to go down. If you fang it left when you get down the path, there was this sort of a path off the beaten path. It was where people walked, but it wasn't really set up. It was just trodden down from people walking on it for years, and it would head up to this little sort of foresty area that they had stairs and stuff in. It was a proper trail that someone had created, but it wasn't a formal trail. It had lots of little hills and stuff. Anyway, there was a little smoke spot down the very back there. We used to go and sit and smoke joints. And then if you go back the other way and you hook it right, you can head up and you head sort of all the way down the actual path that's meant to be there. It's a proper trail, a walking trail. Definitely not safe unless you're, especially if you're female. It's definitely not safe unless you're with another person or have a dog. I don't really like that area. But it was beautiful. It was the day we were down there. Anyway, we were sitting on this bench that we always sat on. It was summer. We had tequila sunrises in our hands, and we were sitting down and we were just chatting. And we'd had a really good day, and we were sitting there, and I said, how good is life, And he was like, yeah, it's pretty good. I said, think of all the unexpected moments. It's so beautiful, us meeting, I can't really remember what I said. I think it was us meeting, moving to Canberra, making the decision, getting the jobs we just got, having the issues we had before. And she was like, yeah. And then I think she riffed off a couple, and I was like, I have another one to add. She's like, what? And I got up and I got down on one knee, and I said, Mads, I've loved you a very long time, and I think I could love you a lot longer. Will you marry me? And she said, oh my God, yes. No, she wasn't even that dramatic, but it was nice. It was beautiful. And then we had Carl, the local drunk, within, 10 minutes after we were sort of relishing in that and loving that and having a good time. And Mads was so stoked about the ring and everything. It was the first time she saw the ring. She fucking frothed it. Carl comes past and he's drunk, obviously, and we've had a few interactions with him. I don't think he ever remembered that we had met him before, so he introduced himself every time. And he and he just was going on about how he couldn't get his payments because of all the fucking millenniums. And I think he was pretty sore, pretty upset with us. So we got out of there pretty quick when he started arguing with another lady, the lady that he was with, But anyway, I just felt like that might have been a story to tell this morning. I didn't really have anything else to talk about. I woke up sort of tired and grumpy. Yesterday was my... my 3-year engagement. Engagement anniversary. And it was... I guess now that that story is immortalized on this podcast.